about sugar, you speak about love. And those at a kitchen table, malasadas, sugar cream rice, cocoa and cracker, Hāmākua delight. Sweet and sour child, sweet and salty love, sweet okole, how for you, sweet okole, just for me. Sweet rum, steel guitars, sweet music in the bars, sweet smoke is in the air, sweet. Home sweet home, Hāmākua.
Beginning in 1850 and for the next century, diverse peoples came to Hawaii seeking new opportunities. They left behind the challenges of their native lands to take on the hard work of planting and harvesting the island's sugarcane crops. Though they came to work in the sugar fields, many found their way onto cattle ranches, dairy farms, coffee lands, and macadamia nut fields to support the growth of a multifaceted agricultural economy across the islands. From the early days, the many small plantations dotting the landscape were the largest employers, providing jobs that contributed significantly to the island's development. Though the plantations struggled with droughts, floods, lack of labor, trade restrictions, and scarce resources, they maintained an important place in Hawaii's economy. Nearly 385,000 workers from around the globe came to Hawaii and shared the challenges of isolation in the middle of the Pacific. They came together and created a spirit of cooperation and mutual aid. They lived and worked together in a unique blend of cultures, races, and religions, forming a community that thrived on unity and partnership. For over a century, sugar along the Hāmākua coast was at the heart of this legacy, playing a significant role in shaping Hawaii's cultural and economic history.
Well, there's been tremendous changes in this business since I've been associated with it. Most of the cane was still cut by hand when I first came here. And a lot of the field operations were still by large hand gangs. This has been completely changed, and we're a highly mechanized operation. I think that there's been tremendous technological changes during this period, and I think probably right now we're doing more in this area of improving operations, technological improvements, than at any time in my whole career. I find it a most exciting time.
If you hear that, what they call a bringing, that's what the Hawaiians call the ukulele. Yeah, that came from Portugal. So every time you hear that, I say, thank you, sugar. Yeah. My mother and I arrived in Hawaii in November of 1954. I was 9 years old, and I had no notion at all when we boarded that Pan Am airline in Manila and headed for Hawaii, landing in Honolulu. And my father's there with his friend and says, son, look at all the water buffaloes we have here in the parking lot. And I said, what water buffaloes are you talking about? He meant the cars. That's my introduction to Hawaii.
My auntie had introduced my husband to me. So he came to the Philippines and see me. And then when he saw me, he said he likes to marry me.
Well, Sakara is kind of like a term that has become synonymous with the Filipino laborers that were recruited to come to work in the pineapple and sugarcane fields of Hawaii in 1906.
My dad, he first arrived in Honolulu. He was told by a friend to come to Powillo and work in the sugar plantation. There would be these old men, like cicadas, like older Filipino men. He would room with this older Filipino guy. His name was Lorenzo Almogella. He was so fortunate because he was able to get into a trade, and he was a welder.
And a lot of Hawaiian people and people in Hawaii don't know that in 1898, Philippines became a part of the United States there. And at the same time, Hawaii was annexed as a part of the United States. The kingdom was overthrown when Liliuokalani was overthrown in 1893, 92. And a republic is established in Hawaii. The Philippines becomes a colony and is governed by the United States government for the next 50 years until 1946.
Early on in the years during the plantation lives, there were separation of camps: Japanese camps, Spanish camps, Portuguese camps, Filipino camps. And the plantation has structured that for very strategic planning. They did not want the workers to be united. If they would strike, they would be striking as a ethnic group. The Japanese would strike, or the Filipinos would strike, or the Portuguese would strike. So it would be fragmented. And that's the reason why they kept them all apart.
People came from different ethnic groups. They couldn't communicate, they couldn't talk, because Japanese, they had their own language. The Portuguese had their own language. Filipinos had their own language. But when it came time for lunch, everybody would just sit in a circle and the lunch would be in the middle, and I would try your food and you would try mine, and together. Even though they couldn't talk, communicate, that they would try. That's where a pidgin came in, pidgin English.
And going through the sugar mill, my dad, in the beginning when I was small, it was rather scary because a lot of noise, all different kinds of sounds, but you see all the different ethnic groups working in the sugar mills.
Hāmākua company wasn't just a company, no? It wasn't just a company. It was a way of life. Hāmākua Sugar Company.
When you worked for the sugar company, they took care of us. Housing, water, health care. I mean, just everything that you can think of, the plantation wanted to help us with. And I remember Leon Thevenin, the manager, saying he just wanted to make sure that the people were happy, because happy people are good workers. Happy families are good workers.
We were used to getting a monthly check from the plantation. I mean, they covered all expenses. The benefit was a wonderful one in that patients would go to the pharmacy and they pay $1 for a prescription, no matter what the prescription. And if we sent them to Hilo, to a specialist, the plantation paid for everything. There was no out-of-pocket for the patient.
I really appreciate the headwork plantation, because if not, I don't know. My family came, all of them, not one had stayed back. Really? Because of the plantation affidavit of support. Since I work over there, they gave me good affidavit of support. And then the house that my husband have, it helps a lot. Yes. Because we are 15 in the family and I'm the oldest.
I said, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? My name is William Diaz. Everybody calls me Billy. Hey, sweet baby, don't you think maybe we could find those a brand new recipe.
Our young days was very, very good. Yeah, because we used to have sugar mill before, yeah. And we used to go down to the sugar mill and, you know, the brown sugar we used to scoop and we used to bring it home and eat the sugar. Yeah, it was good. Good old days.
I was born in Pauhau at the Pauhau Hospital because my father worked for the Pauhau plantation, but I was raised in Kappa Fishtail Camp. All of the plantations had their little camps. Hāmākua Sugar had Kukuhaile, Camp 8, etc., etc. Pauhau had Pahāmauka, Kalapa Fishdale Camp, Kalapamauka, Pauhau Mill Camp.
Was born at Hāmākua Hospital. My dad at the time worked for the sugar plantation. We lost my dad when I was 4 years old. So we lived in the camp, lower camp, below the gym. Now my mom needing to find another place to live. So we lived for a little while in Ocala. My grandmother was from Ocala. And then ultimately made it back to Powillo and lived in Nakahara Village. So right below the school here.
And I used to be just there. Every time I used to power school, I used to go on top of the hill where the big mill yard crane was, do my homework, just so I can watch the mill at work and watch the cane trucks.
Camp life. I remember camp life, playing around, especially summertime. We go all in the gulches, running down the gravel roads barefoot all day long. Playing in the trees, play tree master, all kind. Yeah, riding bicycles too. Miles, all over. Classmates, most of them classmates. Catch frogs. Of course, we had slingshots, shoot birds, and we eat them.
As kids, we used to go to the elementary school bare feet, or what is known as harashi. In Japanese, harashi means bare feet, walking through the mud. The cane truck would be passing you and we run behind the cane truck, trying to grab out the sugar cane from the tree it was recently burnt. And that's the best tasting sugar cane, right from the cane truck. You can get it right from the field. You take it and you didn't have walking, right? Oh, hit it against the telephone post, break it open and chew sugar cane, chew burnt sugar cane, delicious.
So my sisters, they raised, helped raised me especially. I was like between my two sisters and my brother, the ages was pretty close. When it came to me, I 5 years younger than, so I was the baby. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? So they would have to take care of me.
So I used to catch the Sanpan bus and I used to go to Hilo. During the war, everything was rationed. She used to send me to go buy materials because my mom used to sew all the aloha shirts like that and the pants for my brother folks. I could buy only 3 yards at a time, stay in line and buy 3 yards of material and come home. I come back, so I go back again. And those days the bus fare was 5 cents.
Born and raised in Kukuhaile. My parents was cattle farmers. So as a young child, we learned how to hunt and fish as we were growing up.
And it was interesting growing up in Ocala. I remember being about 8 years old, going with my dad down to the sugar mill. Sometimes during operation, but more so when the mill stops operation during the weekends, Saturday, Sunday deal, the supervisors rotated to what's known as fire duty. In other words, go keep watch over the mill, make meetings, nothing happening, especially a fire. And at that time, go out and check the water tanks, make sure all the pumps running, people have water in the tanks. And so I used to tag along with him as a young kid, not knowing at that time I'd be working for the sugar company sometime later in life.
After graduating from Honoka, I remember my parents saying, son, we get all this taro land. If you want one, we'll give you one. So I was so proud. I said, yes. 1.85-acre parcel, which had about 10 patches. For 1 year, I harvested taro from that place. I had made only $500. So I told my parents, I think I'm going to work for the plantation.
You know, growing up on a ranch, especially being 7 miles up there on the mountain, you learn how to be pretty self-sustaining. The kids were pretty much all multiracial. My mom and dad were very adamant about treating everybody equally. It was kind of post-World War II. The sentiments that were created during that time, still, when I was born in the 50s, you know, were still kind of there. And my folks would get really upset if we would use any type of racial slurs. That was always grounds for discipline and punishment. So everybody was to be treated the same. Nobody was any different. That was something that has stayed with me throughout my life.
You never need lock your houses before. Everybody treat each other with aloha.
My mom would always say that there was a lot of aunties and uncles that kept track of us. So she never worried because she knew that the community took care of the kids that grew up there.
Yeah.
Right. So, if you were naughty somewhere, some auntie or uncle would see you and say, hey, what are you up to? You better not be doing that. I'm going to tell your mom.
Yeah.
We used to climb the roof. A bunch of us would climb the roof and walk the roof. We
Yeah.
played basketball and then we would
Climb the
we would
roof?
climb the roof. Now I don't encourage, if any kids are watching this, if you show any video, I don't encourage any of the kids to do that today.
Yes.
That was not a smart thing for us to do. So I don't encourage it. Please don't do it.
I was born down in Haina on the plantation dispensary. In a small park there that we used to play at. It had a clubhouse. Yeah, we used to roller skate in the clubhouse. Like, maybe it wasn't what we're supposed to do, but we used to roller skate in the clubhouse around the tables and whatever. So we did. As a child, it was fun.
And one day, when my friend came to tell me, come on, let's go out play. I said, no, I'm too busy. I got too much to do. No, let's go. I said, no. So they came over to my house on Saturday to check. And then those days, I said, no dryer, so you have to, on wire, you have to hang all clothes and laundry, yeah? And they counted, wow, there's 30 something pants, pair of pants, because with my father, it would be 7 of them. I think it was 36, and they had 72 aloha shirts all hanging. And I had to iron all that up. So I had a hard life. But then that's why I became a more mature child, I guess, because of the responsibility. Yeah.
I love the sport of basketball. When I was growing up, I was in the county yet. The plantation used to own the gym. So the gym was always open. So we used to be in the gym from maybe 6 o'clock at night to 1 o'clock in the morning, just playing basketball, and we just used to hang out down there. During that times, I remember waking up and going out of the house, no eat breakfast, nothing, just go and play. And all we ate during the day was guavas, but there was, we didn't come home till nighttime, and our parents didn't care, not say didn't care, they cared, but they didn't worry about us because they knew the community know where we stayed.
When we were little, with my grandmother and all my cousins, the Bautistas and the Panelos, and we would walk up to church and we'd go to Kalapa Church, where the Kalapa Church was. We would walk across that gulch area. Pauhau had the first singing bridge. We would cross the singing bridge, and Raposo used to live in the corner. We'd pass their house, and then there was a gulch going up, and there was a road, and we walked all the way up to the church, barefooted, carrying our shoes in our hand so we wouldn't get it dirty. Then when we got to church, we put our shoes on.
I decided to become a nurse. I hated needles and I still hate needles till today. My whole thing was I want to be the type of a nurse that's going to give a shot the way I'd like to receive it and take care of people the way I want to be taken care of.
I'm the youngest of 7. I have 5 brothers and 1 sister, and all my brothers worked on the plantation.
Real fun, real fun. Growing up was real good. Like any other kid, you would go swim down at the gulches, come up, get scoldings. Nothing. You get lickings. You go back down the next day.
When we were little and raised in a plantation camp, there was no TV. We only had a radio, so we had to kind of make our own playthings. I remember my brother taking a whole chicken breast, and he made a sailboat out of it. A little tiny toy sailboat, and we'd go down to the gulch and float it around in the gulch in the pond. Or you know how the houses were, they were off on stilts, and so therefore we would go and play under the house,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
with
yeah.
with homemade trucks. Yep. And just play games, yeah. Or climb trees like little monkeys.
I just said love the plantation. I mean, my dad always used to talk about it, and then most of my friends, everybody, it was our whole life. When we used to go to school, right there in Hāmākua school, they used to burn cane right on the side, and then the cane used to go all the way up to the highway by the old infirmary. There was all cane fields before.
Had these guys come to Hāmākua school, and they would recruit us for National Guard. And they said, if you go to that class, you're free lunch. For real, I go for a free lunch. And the next thing I knew, wow, I took a basic training.
My name is Ben Feliciano. I come from Pauilo. I'm born and raised in Cookiao, homeboard in Cookiao. I come from a big family. 9 girls, 5 boys. And Papa never did make good. And those years, way below $1, he was making way below $1. So I dropped off from school in 1952. So I applied herbicide department. You do a lot of hard labor, yeah? Like herbicide, you carry the pump on your back. When you work hard, nowadays, you know, in the 50s, when we work hard, you see, you boss ass after this.
I graduated in '64, so right after that, and then they used to hire us every summertime, like Christmas vacation, summertime, and then we would work as a schoolboy. And then right after you graduated, they would offer us a job, yeah. So I started with overhead irrigation, shoot water on the cane, yeah, down on the bottom by the ocean.
The day after my graduation, I worked for the power plantation weighing trucks. And then shortly thereafter, I left to go to nursing school at St. Francis.
Okay, what is bongo number?
My bongo number was 785. Now, bongo number is the company will give you a number, and they go by races. Your father was different. Filipino, they carry a different number.
This was the macadamia nut field. Yeah, field 15. All of this was macadamia nut outside of the road. 50 cents an hour, 5 cents a pound. We used to scale them, and then we'd get somebody to, you'd fill up your bag, you sew, everybody would fill them up to the top, and they would sew them closed. And then they put your tag, your bongo number, and when they would scale them, the supervisor would just rip the tag. But then after he did that, you know, those nuts were hard to find, you know, when it was nut season. So after he scaled those bags, the other guys would come in and they would steal them and take them to their line, you know, they had lines, and put their tag on it.
Put a new tag on it.
Yeah, so he would scale maybe the same bag 3 times. Yeah, so his paper was full, but when the bags would go down to the husking plant. Yeah.
Ben, what was your bongo number?
I had 2. My first bongo number was 385, yeah? 385. And then they changed it, a different number, and it became 1295, my number.
And the supervisors only knew most of their workers by their bongo number. I wanted to send a message to someone. And I gave him the name. It was a beautiful Filipino name. I thought the Filipino names were Marcelino Balangatan. Beautiful names. What the bongo number? Gave him the bongo number. He knew exactly who I was speaking about. That disturbed me because my name is important to me. And because I'm named after people. And I try to teach people that, more especially if you're named after people, you're representing them. So take care of that name and who you are, who you represent in the community.
Operator assistant, they would run the boilers that would make the power. And we supplied 10% of the electricity for the island. Just by burning the gas, right? The leftover sugar cane, put it through the boiler, burn it, make the turbines, and then get the pressure and turn the turbines and make electricity.
My first job was the covering seed, cover the seed. And then after that, we went on the machine, replanting crewman. My job title is replanting machine crewman. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, we have plenty workers. I mean, women, you know. You have to coordinate your feet because you have to press the plow. And then you have to see, you see the line and then you press the plow so you can put the seed. That's in the conveyor. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So you have to coordinate, you know, with your eyes, the feet, and the hand, all one time. Yeah.
So I was starting, 1977, being like everybody else, driving machineries, trucks, planting cane, fertilizing the cane, harvesting the cane. Yeah, pretty much everybody knew what was all the steps. Working in the mill too, learning all the processing, grinding the cane, making sugar, making molasses. Yeah, it was real interesting because you never need to go any other place. You never need to go college because they teach everything was all self-taught right there. It's up to you. You wanted to learn.
And at that time, I was making more money than my father. And my father was a pushwork operator, car operator actually. At our time, you realize, as my father saw, I jumped up paycheck on the table.
$500, $100 bill or what?
I don't know. In fact, I don't even know what I got in the paycheck because I couldn't open it. I put them on the table. Only took my paper saying I had my record whatever I throw that month. When I got married, I stopped.
Formulated the whole business model of this plantation, slaughter plan, rendering plan, connecting it in with the plantation, using the plantation's water sources, power sources, doing the trucking of hauling sugar to the pier, back hauling the barley to the feedlot, cutting the cost and trying to make it as economical as possible. The first thing I started was totally uncattle related. They bought a whole bunch of oil field refuse pipe from the mainland because it was cheap. When it got here, it needed to be cut into the links for the post to build the feedlot. And they brought it in the off season, so the stack yard down at Haina was wide open. They put all this pipe down there. Haina during the summer is a little warm, but when you're running a torch in a leather jacket and welding hammer, and when you cut oil field refuse pipe, there's usually a remnant of crude oil on the inside, so that crude catches fire when you're cutting through there, and that was rough.
Oh, I bet.
Raining, we cannot spray. The mill need water, so what they used to tell us, so sometimes in the morning, even in the mornings, they would go around blowing the siren, yeah, for rain out. They would be hey, we work today. And sometimes they take a break, and after that, 2 minutes later, the phone ringing, ding, ding. And we knew already what that phone call was, because we would be calling 4 o'clock in the morning. Hey, come on. Yeah, this so-and-so. Like work. Yeah, okay. And we would go. There's so much water coming in the gouges. There was a big shovel digging hose anything for divert the water from the gulch into the ditch. Because the mill had to stop because the washing in or no water. So yeah, so we'd have to do everything, and we just would work. And in the rain, we'd be soaking wet, but that never bothered us.
Actually, driving truck was a really dangerous. Now you think about it, because we have to drive 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, not knowing where you're going. All our routes change every night. So we used to work from Kukahaile all the way to Ocala.
Oh, one night, and this one is the one I'm not gonna forget. We was hauling down Cavella Poison House. I park on the top of the hill, and then the loader will load me. So when I go sleep, I mean, we go sleep lunchtime, half an hour, I get for sleep, so I go sleep. When I woke up, it was pouring rain. So I start the truck up and I put the lights on, and then Eugene Supiano, he was the supervisor out that day. He had one flashlight, and then if he put on red thing on top, that means for no come down. But I seen that light going like this, so I thought he told me for come, was telling me for come down. As soon as I released the brake, I couldn't stop the truck already. The thing started for slide. I remember sliding down the hill, and I was thinking to myself, "Oh, I'm not gonna make 'em," because at the bottom of the hill, got one little flat, and then right there, drop off into the ocean. And I remember, honest to God, seeing the ocean water, when the wave hit. And it just at that final moment, the truck can turn. And then, the trailer came right around and it fixed me right back up the hill.
Sweet spirit, sing along.
I remember your mom and the brother used to always sing during the party. They would call them up and
So music was as important.
was really important. It was mostly Filipinos. The Filipinos, they're real happy people, and they love the music, and they love to eat, and they love to share their food.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what they brought to the camp.
This all brings a lot of memories back. A lot of meetings, a lot of grumblings, a lot of FUs.
Yeah.
But still leaks. And the pukas up there. A lot of memories.
Yeah.
There's a cookie place. God.
Yeah. Well, in a sense, the heart of Union Hall.
People used to go hunting,
Fishing.
yeah. And then they bring everything over here, cook the thing, and give it to the strikers
Yeah.
and their families. We had a refrigerator over here, and it was full with beer and poo on the table, and we're having a good time.
I remember going to Union Hall all the time because always had parties over there. That was a big thing for us, Because on Friday everybody go slaughter the pigs, the cows and stuff, and it was exciting to me.
Well, it was a major gamble buying this thing. A lot of people have wondered why I did it. I was reaching retirement age. I'd developed enough assets to live easily and comfortably for the rest of my life. And however, it appeared to me that if it stayed in the hands of the former owners, that there was a sizable chance that within the near-term future it would be shut down because it really didn't fit their overall strategy. So I liquidated all the assets I developed. I bought the place, and in doing so incurred a major debt, which I am the sole guarantor. And so I've really put everything I have into this thing, and also committed my future to it. A lot of people thought this was foolhardy, But I felt that this is a way I could make a major contribution, not only to this company and the people that live here and work here and depend upon it, but the economy of the state. And if I felt I could make this kind of a contribution during my lifetime, it would have been well worth it.
My dad, because of his position and long standing in the sugar industry, he spent a fair amount of time lobbying in Washington, D.C. America doesn't produce as much sugar as we consume. Unlike a lot of other crops, the way the USDA controls the price, because it's a commodity, and they control all commodity prices. And with sugar, the way they control the price is they every year go around and they interview the producers and try and get estimates on what do you think your production this year is going to be. And then they go around and they interview the industrial buyers. How much are you going to be buying this year? And then they take those numbers and they put them together and they go, okay, this is what consumption is going to be. This is what production is going to be. We want to target a particular price. And so we're going to set the import quota so that the total amount of sugar available versus the demand will result in that price. He went and had a meeting with the Secretary of Agriculture at the time, Secretary of Agriculture of the whole United States. And he said, you know, you guys are telling everybody that you're trying to run this program in such a fashion that you keep the industry healthy so that the sugar production stays around. The way I see it, you're starting to run us out of business. Mr. Morgan, all I can tell you is we all got bosses and we all got to do what our bosses say. And I hate to tell you this, but it was determined when the priorities were set that your industry was expendable.
During the Clinton administration, there were two treaties that were passed. NAFTA, North America Free Trade Agreement, and GATT, General Agreement of Tariff and Trades. That treaties was to bring in foreign sugar into the United States. So when that two treaties were passed, then it became evident that Hawaii sugar would be sacrificed.
When something like this happens, I look back on it now, and it may not have been a natural disaster, but it was literally a disaster of sorts because people were so dependent on the plantation, the benefits and the things that the plantation provided, that when that was no longer available to them, they were just kind of reeling with, you know, where do I go and what do I do?
It was so bad that some people thought about suicide.
What was the plantation worker going to be, or where was they going to live?
What am I going to do next? What's happening?
There was a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. There was a lot of worries on how they're going to survive.
Because it's not only you have to think about. You have a family. If I wasn't married, no big deal. Like I have 4 kids. You have to think of them. You have to think of your wife. How are we going to, put food on the table? Actually, it's the most important thing. Feeding them, clothing them, and everything like that.
Even if they offered to sell the homes for $1,100 house and lot, which is really cheap, a lot of people didn't have that kind of money. You know, they had to think about how they're going to survive for the next couple of months without a paycheck. How are they going to learn a new trade at age 55 or 60? And it was really hard to see.
I think it affected a lot of families.
Yeah.
A lot of families. And, it's sad it's because you don't see the people like you used to see them all the time.
The biggest thing was the plantation stopping because that was the huge main supporting factor for the feedlot. The feedlot saw the end coming on the plantation, and because it's all the same business, the feedlot got shut down prior so that it didn't kind of get caught with its pants down.
I said, well, cannot help, you know. So total years I work all my life. I put in 42 years working.
Lots of stress and anxiety.
In 1994, when the plantations was closing, we only talk about the plantation and the employees that lost their job. But you have to look also at the other businesses that was supporting the plantation, or the plantation was vendors, you know, like Gastro, the buying welding rods, oxygen, acetylene, truck and trailer of Hilo that, you know, supply parts for the garage. But when the plantation had closed, those businesses took a big hit also. Some of the employees had lose their job also. So it wasn't only the plantation workers out of a job.
Transportations that would haul parts and this and that back and forth to Hilo. I know that coastline, they had at one time 3 or 4 trucks, a couple times a day back and forth to Hilo. After the plantation closed, they had 1. Fuel distribution guys, they were bringing in all this diesel to supply plantation trucks and equipment. All of a sudden now you got all these storage tanks full of diesel and we don't need you that much diesel. Tire companies was another big one. And just a multitude of these supporting companies that all of a sudden now we're way overstaffed. We don't have the volume. We all got to cut back. A lot of people moved away.
You know, looking back, it's incredible shame that it's gone, but I feel incredibly fortunate that I got to experience it.
My name is Benny again. I've been working for Hāmākua Sugar for at least 19 years and all of my buddies as well. And what we're trying to show here is that we're gonna miss the lifestyle of sugar plantation life and all the ohana. So we just put in a run through town in Hāmākua to prove how much we do care about our culture and about the plantation.
This is our so-called last run of Hāmākua Sugar. It signifies many years of sugarcane operations here on the Hāmākua coast. It's too bad that this day had come. We never thought we'd see this last day, but finally it's here. And I guess we gotta face reality and move on with the future. Just wanna wish a good luck to everybody. Plenty mahalos to all of them.
Final load on the final day of the final harvest. Alfred Martinez. His co-workers call him Fredo. And he's putting the final touches on truck 99, getting it cleaned up, ready for its final ride. Still near Kukui Highway on the Big Island. It's about 5:30 in the morning. These guys are putting a banner on the back of the truck. It'll be the very last truck carrying sugar into the mill.
harvesting was the last. And to tell you the truth, we didn't finish harvest all the fields, We already go bankrupt already. I was the last one to leave the factory. I was the last person for crews all around, make sure no one fire. Everything was all shut down. I locked the gate, the main gate. I never know what to do with the key.
It was the worst day of my life, honestly.
So 30 years ago today, we all knew what was coming. We did not know what we were in for. We did not know what we were going to do or how we were going to do it. When the closure came, we all know over 400 families were affected. All of us here were affected pretty much. Jobs, the hotels had some, but our guys weren't hotel workers. Some of them were. Some people didn't wait for the closure. Some people left before the closure. And that was fine too. But there was a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of sadness. And there's a sadness that came upon our town that was unspoken. But it was seen because we all were feeling it at the time. We all knew what was coming. It was coming to an end, our error. So if you look at the plantation, like our mom, she had us under her wings. We paid $40 for rent, $1 per prescription, $1 for a doctor's visit. Everything was taken care of for us. We went into survival mode. We did what we had to do. So all of a sudden, cane truck drivers were in classes to become nurses. Factory utility workers were in classes to become housekeepers, janitors. They did what they had to do. And there was something about belonging to the plantation that brought us together and made us one. And we knew that that was going to be gone pretty soon. On the last day of the final harvest, after the cane trucks went through town, how many of you were there for that last final harvest parade? 4 o'clock in the morning, Hāmākua town had no parking. It was wall to wall with people and families. And we were all quiet because we knew that we was going to see the last cane trucks come through with the last of the cane for the last time. I feel that I literally watched the mill die that day.
Had come in a paper before that, opportunity to go for nursing and doing other jobs, and just happened had nursing. So I applied for nursing.
The first place that starts to be impacted is somebody's health, right? And we had people that, because they weren't going to pay $40 or $50 for their blood pressure medicines, they just stopped taking their medicines. And on one weekend in particular, the physician that was on call in the emergency room saw, I think he saw 8 or 12 guys that came in with chest pain and stuff because they just stopped taking their medications. We had to do something, we had to do something straight away about that.
I have a strong connection to Powillo, to my friends. All of us grew up together here. When I think back of those days, it inspires me to be a good person. I think that's what it comes down to. It really does inspire me, and I know it inspires my friends as well, to be good people and to make this town proud, right? And to ensure that those values are out there. And even in my work today, I make fun of myself sometimes when there's something going on and I'm the only one thinking a little differently, and I say, "Oh, sorry, everyone. You know why, right? I grew up in Powillo." but then I make my point, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's a good point.
So they will encourage me to go and take the CNA class, the certified nursing assistant.
Yes.
6 of us only went,
Yes.
Yeah. And then thanks to God Almighty, I was able to pass the test.
There were so much more than just financial needs that were happening, that there were emotional needs that needed to be addressed. And Susan, Kihao, they were not necessarily experts in all those things, but they were experts to me in being facilitators, trying to get the groups together. The community was outstanding. It could be dire times, but I found the community to be consistently highly respectful.
The one thing that I took out of there that I've continued to carry with me through my entire career is nothing's impossible. So I removed the word impossible from my vocabulary.
Ha'aheo ka ua i nā pali ke nihi a ela i kana hele e hahaia nā paha i ka liko Aloha oe speak about love and those at a kitchen table. Malasadas, sugar cream rice, cocoa and cracker, Hāmākua delight. Sweet and sour child, sweet and salty love, sweet okole, how for you, sweet okole, just for me. Sweet rum steel guitars, sweet music in the bars, sweet smoke is in the air, sweet. Oh,